Okay, so today we talk about the Leatherman Surge, the big boy in the Leatherman lineup. Let's do a quick size comparison. Here it is against the Leatherman Wave and against the Victorinox Compact. Let's go over the tools on the outside. First off, you have your plain edge, which locks open. You have a liner lock on all four outside tools. And on the other side, you have your serrated blade, which also locks open, and you can tell the difference between them just by feel, because the serrated blade has jimping up here and the plain edge does not. So you can just have the tool in your hand and feel which blade you are about to open. On the other side of the plain edge, you have a pair of scissors, which is quite substantial, also lock and pretty thick. They cut well, nothing wrong with that. And on the other side here, you have an exchangeable tool. I have the saw blade installed, but the Leatherman Surge also comes with a file that you can install. So the way you do this is you slide over that sleeve, that metal sleeve, then you can take out the saw blade and install the file. You can also get longer saw blades or other tools that you can put in here that don't fold into the tool, into the Leatherman, but you can put it in when this is out and use it this way. So the metal hooks here hold the tool in place, and then you slide this sleeve over so it doesn't go anywhere. This has a little bit of wiggle back and forth and up and down, nothing wrong with that. It's secure in there. You can use it, especially with the saw. I do use it. However, the file is a metal file back here. And if you would file something down, especially metal, you would put pressure on, or wood, anything you'd file. You'd put pressure on, and pressure this way or that way would, look at this, bend the sleeve a little bit away, and I don't like that. So if I use a file, I think the exchangeable tool is cool, especially for saws where the force is used back and forth, or force is applied back and forth. There's nothing wrong with that, because those pieces of metal are quite substantial, but the sleeve side to side seems a little weak to me. So I have the saw blade installed. I have the file as backup in the sheath, and if I use a file, if I can, I use a dedicated file, or the Leatherman Wave file, in fact. Put that back in there. Okay, those were the tools on the outside. Let's go to the tools on the inside. You have your plier heads with the removable wire cutters and a wire crimper back here in the middle. Then on the one side, you have the Leatherman bit holder, which comes pre-installed with a Phillips head and a flat head. This is the bit. They also lock open. You have this lock back here. You press that down, and then you can disengage the tool, or fold it back in, disengage the lock, I'm sorry. And the second tool in here is a can opener / wire stripper. That is one side. On the other side, you have an awl. All three of those tools lock open as well with the same lock. You have an awl, a big flathead / pry bar, and a small flathead. And I think this tool, I want to talk about this a little bit. I think this is an afterthought, because if you look at that bit that comes pre-installed, I mean, come on, this is basically the same. This looks very similar. And especially if you get the bit kit, you have lots of options that you can put in here. I don't need another flathead screwdriver. So this, I would prefer if they had actually put the eyeglass screwdriver holder here, which is, the use of this is quite limited actually. You spend quite a lot of space for two tiny screwdrivers. However, it is an addition. It would be an addition if you use that screwdriver holder instead of this, because as I said, you have lots of options for a flathead screwdriver with the bit holder already. I don't think you need this. Or you can put in any other tool. From the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but you know, something else. This is useless to me, or redundant. Those were the tools. Then there is another feature I want to show you. here on the side with the exchangeable blade, you have a lanyard loop for the lanyard guys out there. You see this piece of metal? You just grab something and then push it out, and then you have a lanyard loop, which you can use. I never did. Mine is already actually a little bent. I don't know why. Maybe I dropped the tool someday. I don't know. Okay, so those are the tools on the Leatherman. This was my first Leatherman. It held up great. When I got it for my birthday from my dad, it came razor sharp. Actually, I just played with it, opening, you know how we do with knives, which we shouldn't. But I closed it back up, and I just touched my hand at some little tiny point, and it just, I had a surgical cut in my hand because this thing just came in razor sharp, and it held up great. It stayed sharp for a very long time. The pliers here, this is just beefy. It's just, this is a tank. I used those pliers to twist out metal clamp or some sort of out of a piece of wood, and I turned it, and it bent the plier heads to the side, like it twisted it, and I immediately let go because I didn't want to ruin the tool, but it just went back to how it was, and it still closes up perfectly. There is no, I can't even feel a gap. Yeah, it just, it's perfect. It's perfect. I have no complaints. It held up very, very well. I have one problem with the Leatherman sheaths. Let me explain why. This is all testing, scientific testing. This is the sheath I carried at the moment. This is the large sheath, nylon sheath with pockets. However, this is not the sheath it came in, or it came with, I should say. This is the sheath it came with. It's a little banged up. I carried it a long time in this, and this fits very well. You don't have too much extra space up there. You have one slot for the bit kit for one piece, because two is really tight. Both bit kits down back there is, I wouldn't recommend it. You have that flashlight loop and the bit extender loop. Well, I thought when I saw the new sheets with two slots, one in the front and one in the back, I get this because I can carry both bit kits with this, and this is quite roomy, so I could store the file as well. I resorted to another solution. I'll explain later, but. And so I ordered the large nylon sheath with pockets because I wanted to replace this. Also, this came a little loose, and I carry it on the right side. So when this catches on something, then it opens that thing quite often. It seems a little tighter now actually, but this came open quite often actually. So I got a large nylon sheath for the surge, because the signal and the surge go into the large sheath. I got it, and I had way too much room for my taste. Like I said, other people use that room to store stuff, so maybe you like it. I don't. I don't like the extra flappy length of this. Even with both bit kits in the back and in the front, it gets a little heavy, but that was to be expected. But even with both bit kits in the front and in the back, this is just too much for me. I don't like that. So I thought, well, this is the sheath it came in. This is the new large sheath. This seems to be bigger. Maybe they misplaced in the first order the medium sheath for the large sheath, and I just ordered the medium sheath with the updated slots, and it would fit like this did. So I did. This is the medium one, and if you put it in here, it closes with less room. You can even put bit kits back in the front and the back. You have all the side pockets that you had on the other thing. However, you see this is a little banged up here. This is almost impossible. This is the Phoenix E12, the old edition. They've updated this, but this is a thin flashlight, and getting this in here is so hard. There is no way that you would carry this on your belt and have easy access to your flashlight, getting it out and getting it back in. It requires both hands to fill this back in. If you carry a bigger flashlight, like let's say the Phoenix LD12, this is the LD12 2017 edition, or this is the Phoenix PD25R, there would be no way that you would fit this in there. So I carried a Streamlight MicroStream in there. There's nothing wrong with this light. This is great, but I think it just limits your options. And then I looked at the sheaths, and I look at this. This again, this is the sheath it came in, like from a couple of years ago. You have this piece of nylon that is fixed, okay, and this is the stretchy part. Let me open that. This little thing is the stretchy part. You didn't need a lot more because you only had one slot in the back, but you had this width of fixed nylon. This is a little shorter on the large, and this is also a little shorter, but you have way more stretchy part, okay? And even with both bit kits installed, you don't need so much stretch. You know what I mean? This is way too much space that you can generate with this sheath. Make this fixed, that non-stretchy part of the nylon sheath, wider, and give people the option to carry a modern, a little thicker flashlight here. I think this is just this design flaw, to be honest, because I got so frustrated with this that I actually retired my Surge. I really did, because of this. My Surge now lives in my guitar bag for gigging as a backup, because like this, I just throw it in the case, and this is a backup tool. As my daily driver, I switch to the wave in the medium sheath without pockets, because this is way smaller. This is the medium without pockets, and this is the medium with pockets. It's just huge in comparison to this. And I have this on my belt next to the PD25R with its own sheath. This is on my belt now, and this is way easier to access. I can use other flashlights with this, and the wave does the job on the daily basis, and the signal is in the bag, and with the bit kit in the bag. So I do have a whole bit kit with me at all times. I can actually use every screwdriver from the bit kit, because the wave has the eyeglass screwdriver instead of the secondary flathead. Sorry. So I think this for my taste gives me more options and more versatility, and it carries lighter. So this is the way for me at the moment. However, the Surge is a great tool. It's a beast. I use it when I used it 2 months when we moved. This was on my belt at all times, because it felt beefy. To be honest, I didn't have the wave at that time. I bought the wave later, but it is great. It is great. It is a beast. It never let me down. It still looks almost new, to be honest. I love it, but as on a day-to-day basis, I just switched to something else. I know I read in the comments already from my signal video that a lot of you guys actually, or a lot of you guys, I don't have that many comments, I'm sorry, but a couple guys commented that they carry the Surge on the belt, and they find the Surge way more useful, and it is more useful than the signal. However, more useful than the wave, I'm not sure. It is heavier, bigger, and I think the Wave Plus is actually more versatile. So yeah, That's my thoughts on the Surge. As always, let me know what you think about it, what you carry, how you carry your stuff, and it's maybe even with the sheets and flashlight combinations. How are you solving this? I would be interested. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.